Breaking news! Nintendo is banning Switch 2 systems. Oh my God, am I going to be next? You know, it makes for a good headline.
Because I've had enough of this news.
Frittata!
Psst. Hey, you! Come on. No. Over here. No, not over here. Down here. Down. There we go. Could you kindly stop filming and could you help me out of this pile of dirt? I came out here to mow somebody's lawn, as promised, for the 100K sub goal, and then the husky ended up burying me and pissing all over me. Oh, I shouldn't have told you that last part. Now you don't want to touch me. Well, come on, please, get me out of here. Look at this asshole. He doesn't care. He had the time of his life doing it. Please help me get out of this hole, please. I don't deserve to be here. Or how about this? If we reach 90K, I'll get the husky to dig me out. Don't ask how. I'll make him do it. Although I'm afraid when I wake up, I'm going to end up at the border wall. You're probably wondering, okay, Frit, now that you're in this hole, of what use are you to me now? Exactly how are you supposed to be reporting the news? Don't ask stupid questions, okay? I've operated my whole life without having legs. I'm updated on the news. I've got the salt for you. Just please bring me some beer to hydrate myself. Today we got an update that yet another Switch 2 user has had their system bricked by Nintendo for the exact same reasons I told you yesterday. The MIG switch.
Wait, that's illegal.
It seems now that more Switch 2s are out in the wild and people who are daring and brave and aren't little pussies who are scared of Nintendo banning them, have been experimenting with systems to see what would happen. And you gotta thank these people, honestly. They put their system at risk for you, and what do they get out of it? They get a bunch of loser-ass Nintendo drones commenting how they deserve it, and piracy is wrong, and Nintendo deserves money, and should be rich. Keep in mind, the opinions of people who buy systems designed for children don't matter.
He's out of line, but he's right.
What does matter, however, is to know your rights as a consumer and how much freedom you actually have on those devices, and that's what I'm here to report to you. Whether you like Nintendo or not, being informed on this is important, in my opinion. Because, you know, believe it or not, there are some of those out there who still believe we should have a right to do whatever the hell we want with something we bought, and no company should be allowed to brick it because you're doing things they don't like.
Just standing up for my rights as a consumer.
I'm not quite sure how that's even legally allowed, especially since consoles these days pretty much require the internet, especially the Nintendo Switch 2, that has a library consisting of a majority of games that do not actually exist on the cartridges they are on and must be downloaded off the internet. When you ban someone's system from being able to access the internet and the eShop, you have essentially made it so that their system cannot play like half the games in total that exist on this device. However you look at it, that is essentially bricking a system, making it completely useless to the user. If Windows ever disabled my online features and made it so my PC could not access the internet because I downloaded ROMs, that would essentially make my PC completely useless. No corporation should be able to do that to something you purchased, especially if you are not breaking the law and what you're doing is not illegal in your country or their country. But that's the reach Nintendo has here. So Delta messaged me about a YouTuber named Scattered Brain, and I'll leave a link down below to his video so you could go check it out. And that video is titled, "So, Nintendo banned my Switch 2. Don't try the MIG switch," and here we go!
Another one.
Nintendo's just banning everyone left and right, but his story is even crazier. Let's have a listen.
It happened.
I saw earlier today some people posting on Reddit that their Switch devices were getting banned. I figured, let me see how mine's doing. I didn't do anything wrong. I just tried the MIG switch on the day of the Switch 2 release, and guess what? Oh yeah. Super banned.
You will own nothing and you will be happy.
Oh, and there it is. That's the official code the other guy got, thus confirming the story is true and people aren't just fabricating this. Error code 2124-4508. The exact same error code that popped up with that user on Twitter and that other user on Reddit who attempted to use the MIG switch.
This is what happens when you try to go anywhere online or anything like that. I did actually delete all of my data because I was trying to do something and then I decided I should just film. But if you try to go into the eShop, it just doesn't work. You can't really do a whole lot of anything. I figured, okay, let me try to maybe, back up my save data. You can't do that either. I didn't try clearing the Switch yet. I figured I would start filming. But one thing that is interesting, so I wanted to remove the account, right? So just, delete user. You go next, and yep, can't be recovered. Delete, and you can't delete it. You can't delete your account off of your Switch if it's banned because it cannot connect to Nintendo's services.
Holy shit, they won't even let you delete your account? I get banning people from using Nintendo's online services, but you're outright banning people from directly even accessing the internet for anything. Because, again, this is what sucks about consoles. They are closed off ecosystems. If you want to use basic apps like YouTube or any other tool, you have to download it from the Nintendo eShop. You don't have a Microsoft Store option. You don't have an Epic Game Store option. You don't have a Steam option. You don't have a Google Play Store option. You only have Nintendo. And if they ban you from their services, you have zero ways of accessing any other tools. This is why when Microsoft announced that their next Xbox is going to allow you access to multiple storefronts, it opened up a huge realm of possibilities where here with the Switch, being banned on it is as good as the console being dead. Insane. Nintendo came well equipped this generation. They knew what they were doing with those terms of service. They knew what they were doing with game key cards. They were preparing for a future where you are not even tempted to do what you want with your system because you know what the end result will be and you can't file a class action lawsuit. Gotta hand it to them. They were geniuses thinking ahead, but man, do they suck for that.
So I figured, let's see the state of my old Switch. This is the OLED Switch that I've got. So because of the virtual carts, you have to load it, and when you try to load onto the system, and it's unable to do it because the system is offline.
How can you do a thing like this? Build up a little boy's hopes and then smash all his dreams to pieces. You're an inhuman monster!
I said good day!
Oh my god! It's even worse than I thought! They outright ban your usage on other Nintendo devices? Something must not be right here. Okay, what I'm guessing is he had his Switch 2 set to the primary console. And because that one was banned and he has no way of undoing all of that without online services, this effectively means when he tries to use any other Switch with his account, he can't play games. This is insane. But also a warning to all of you ahead of time. If you're gonna get a mixed Switch and you want to experiment with your Switch 2, do not have it set as the primary console. Because if it gets banned, you will not be able to undo a single goddamn thing. That's kind of crazy. But also, not entirely surprising, as Nintendo is one of the most strict gaming companies on this planet.
I will also preface my MIG Switch experience with every game that I have on my MIG Switch is actually fully legal. I dumped the games myself. They're all my actual certificates. They're my physical games. Not talking about, doing illegal activities here.
Coming for you, nigga.
Unfortunately, as noble as that is, Nintendo doesn't care about legality. Nintendo cares about limiting your rights and your freedoms and creating the exact type of consumer they want. Nintendo likes to deliver a message when they do things like this. They want to set an example for the rest. So yes, even though they were your games and you were physically backing what you purchased and is on paper yours, in reality, it's Nintendo's. You just have the illusion of ownership. Those physical games you purchased are not really yours. They never were. If you do anything that Nintendo doesn't approve of on your Switch 2, you will lose access to what is yours, or you thought was yours. This is something that could not happen to you during the PS2, GameCube, Xbox era, but consumers have let so many of their rights just happily go away. What's even more sad is in the eyes of Nintendrones, it doesn't matter if those games you were backing were yours, they still think it's illegal. They still think you should be banned, and they still think you're a pirate, in spite of the fact that what you backed was something you purchased, and you, on paper, have a right to. They don't care. Nintendo fanboys and shills cannot distinguish the difference. They're stupid. You have to remember, these guys were sold cardboard for a reason, because they are the lowest IQ of all the gaming communities. So while you did things legally right and ethically and morally right, I guess it doesn't matter to Nintendo and it doesn't matter to their community. But I applaud you, good sir. You did do things the right way. You got proof that you backed what was yours. Most people can't say that. And the fact that you were banned for trying to digitally back what was rightfully yours should legally not be something Nintendo is allowed to do.
So yeah, just trying to like go through the system, see if there's anything that we can do. System transfer, there's 0 items. Let's see, switch 2. It says cartridges are loadable. Let's see if we unlink. When unlinked, any virtual game cards loaded onto the system will be returned. You won't be able to load virtual game cards until you link another system. Please note that you won't be able to unlink a system from this page for 1 year after this. Okay, that's interesting. So am I like preventing myself from getting another Switch 2 then? But I think at this point I don't really have another choice, so I think we just have to do it. So it's been unlinked. So unlink. So I can add another system, I just can't unlink another system.
You get one chance! One chance from us! Don't let us down again, scattered brain! Bye, Nintendo! Love Nintendo! Nintendo loves you! Don't disobey us again! You get one more chance! Well, luckily it looks like this method worked for him, so Nintendo will give all of you one more chance to not fuck up for 12 months. So thank God you are able to unlink through the Nintendo app and have access to your games restored on your other Switches. Would have been terrifying and could have been a possible court case.
We probably can just restore this one to factory settings now, so that's also another thing that I'm going to do in the meantime. Restore. Okay. Oh, you actually can't restore the system at all. Yeah, so you can't even restore the Switch to factory settings.
It must be a Mario. He takes racing too seriously.
He takes everything too seriously.
You motherfucker!
No way! They legitimately bricked the console. They won't even let you factory reset it? Are you serious? You mean you pay $500 and this can happen to your device? Are you serious? So they've thus rendered the console unusable, all because he backed his game files and tried to use a MIG switch, which isn't even illegal. That is insane. He can't restore the console to factory settings. They won't let him. He can unlink his account from it, but he can't restore the device and resell it. It is a brick. Tell me, Nintendo shills, in what world is it right for Nintendo to do this? How should they be allowed to do that to someone? I understand banning your Nintendo online account, but to outright make the console completely useless and unsellable? You seriously cannot debate with me that that's not a step too far.
We got a few options here. It says you can keep settings and you can restore settings and keep the user data. You can update the system. You can restore to factory settings. So I think that's what we're going to try to do. Let's continue. I'm not going to assign into any real account or anything like that, but I will connect to the internet. Let's get right to it. Let's eShop. Please sign into your Nintendo account. There we go. I can't even sign into a different Nintendo account. We are entirely bricked, a permanent brick. There is nothing you can do with this Switch 2 on the internet. That is now confirmed.
What? Even after restoring it and then using a different Nintendo account, he is still banned from using the Switch 2's online capabilities. This is a bricked Switch 2. This means that if these things are out there in the wild, bricked, and people are reselling them, there are so many getting screwed over right now. Oh my god, Nintendo, you are insane. So it's not them just simply banning your e-account. They outright brick the system's online capabilities permanently. You're watching it right now. This is what will happen to you if you dare to try and back up your own physical games digitally on a device that isn't approved by Nintendo. It will result in your Nintendo Switch 2 being completely useless. So much so that you can't even resell it. Because who in the hell is going to want to buy a Nintendo Switch that can't connect online? It's not a myth. It's not a rumor. It's real. You're watching it right now. We have somebody who actually shows us that this is possible. Nintendo truly can brick your device. So even if you use your MiG Switch offline, Nintendo can still detect what you're doing. And the minute you reconnect online, boom, banned. Honestly, I'm wondering, what if people return their brick Switches? It's only been 14 days. What if everybody just bricks their Nintendo Switch 2s and goes and returns them, and no employees actually check it? Could people actually pull one off on Nintendo? Could people intentionally brick their systems, get their money back, and screw over both retailers and Nintendo? I mean, you know, the idea brings a big old Kool-Aid smile to my face, but I don't know. What I do know, however, is that this is bullshit. This is some insanely restrictive policies put in place by this company because they don't want you to have your own personal freedoms or rights. And they especially don't want you to back up your games and store them elsewhere. Mark my words, there's going to be a lawsuit eventually. Nintendo is definitely going to be taken to court, and it doesn't matter if people sign that terms of service. Nintendo's going to be filed a class action lawsuit. Eventually, it's going to happen. Just think about how many potentially bricked Nintendo Switch 2s could be sold secondhand. It should be outright illegal to do this to purchased hardware. But there we go. It happened. Just as many had predicted, just as many had said online. It's a real issue. And it's, you know, terribly for Nintendo in the long run. So I take back my recommendation to you guys of getting a MiG Switch to back your games. It seems Nintendo doesn't believe you should be allowed to do that. And it's just simply too risky, and I don't want anybody here to end up bricking their own consoles for doing something that's not even illegal. But then again, if you purchase this device, it is on you. You support this company doing things like this by buying the system. You realize that, right? You may say, no, I bought it because I want to play everything at 60 FPS. You could have just waited for emulation. You know by buying the system, you have directly given Nintendo power and money, and you know what Nintendo does with that money. They shut down fan projects. They shut down emulators. They take other developers to court and force them to remove gameplay mechanics from their games that you purchased because Nintendo is spiteful, petty, and jealous. I don't want to repeat myself, but this is on you as a consumer if you bought this. But now you know that there is no freedom with this device. Do not even attempt to do something cool with it. Use it to play the kids' games Nintendo has programmed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you so choose to. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video.
Fritango sucks ass.